Hey folks, it's the Wizard of Mo of Wizardofmoe Games, and we are back at the Wizard's Table. Now, last video I showed you the extra add-on stuff for the deluxe all-in version of the game. I'm not going to do a full unboxing of this. What I'm going to do is show you that I have added the Valenwood expansion stuff into the main box. Everything fits in this box except for the add-on additional content of these journals, of the adventurer journals. So I'm going to set them aside for now. What I'm going to do today is basically open this thing up and build a character straight out of the box. And I'm going to have this character built. I'm going to save it. I'm going to put the cards in the journal, save the stuff in the plastic container, and it will be the character that I use when Wizard of Mo streams this thing live. So I wanted to get a jump start on it, and then I will teach the rest of the guys how to do it when we do stream the game. And but I just wanted to let you know how long it takes, sort of, and go from there. So here we go. I'm going to open this thing up, and I'm just going to start setting stuff aside because I only need certain things. Of course, you're going to see a lot of stuff. There's a lot of unboxings on this. There's a dized sheet here. There's how to put it back in the box. There's the maps. I've added Valenwood into the map pack. Got them all up under there. I'm going to set this aside. I've added the extra clash mat into the mat mixture, so it does fit in there. Everyone can see that. Let's put this over here. This is the deluxe die rolling tray. Not going to need that for what I'm doing today. These are the bags that I showed you earlier. They all fit in here. There were standard bags and the deluxe bags. Let's toss those over here. And then we have a enemy reference sheet, the tutorial guide, the main rule book, and then a whole bunch of all the different regions that you can go through. And we're going to set those aside. We'll show those to you when we do the live stream. So what I'm going to do is grab a singular character mat, and this is the save thing that it comes in. And I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of these characters away. And there's a box here on the side that has all the character creation stuff. This has the races, has the skill trees, and has the class information on that. So I'm definitely going to keep that. And then we'll probably have to refer to some of these other boxes here, you know, to get our dice and stuff like that. But I'll just go ahead and try to move this somewhere to where it's not going to create a big shadow on here while we're trying to create a character. Let's try that. All right, should be good enough. Let's put this here. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. Real easy to do. It's cool. It's 3D, so that you can cover your dice and some of your little tokens on this. And I'm going to go ahead and set it aside. And then we're going to open this up, and I'm going to show you basically the character I'm going to create. So I'm going to pull this out. These are quests. I don't need that, so I'm going to set it aside. The campaign journal is in this box. I'm going to set it aside. And now I'm going to open up the races. Now, I know a lot of people have said this is super complex. There's a lot of rules. There's a lot of this. If you played any adventure games, again, if you played Elder Scrolls Online, if you've played any D&D, this is not going to be foreign to you. If you've played Too Many Bones, this will not be foreign. If we break it down into little pieces that you can chew up, the biggest part of analysis paralysis is deciding, oh my, look at the number of character races that you get to choose from. I mean, this is completely ridiculous. I love it. I love it so much. There are 2 of each character type. We're just using the wood elf here to sort of show you what they look like. They've got stats on the bottom. They've got pictures, and these are two-sided. So you can choose what look you want, but that's just, you know, cosmetic. The stats are exactly the same on every single card. But this allows at least 2 players to play the same race in the same game. And you might develop them in completely different ways. You see, you got a picture of an archer, a picture of a swordsman. It looks like somebody using a heavy weapon, and it looks like an archer. So all of these characters that we have here are going to give you that choice. So I'm just going to look through them and create someone that you will see again when we play it. So I'm going to go through and I'm just looking at pictures. I'm not building this for efficiency. I'm building this because I want to create a colorful character that gets out there and works well with the rest of the team. Look at this. Long, gray, white beard with a staff, a Nord, very Viking-esque. I'm going to choose the Nord. I'm going to choose that Nord. Looks like there are multiple. There's a female Nord and a male, maybe a male. Yeah, male Nord. It's hard to tell with the beard. And on this side, this looks like a female Nord as well. But I'm going to choose this one. So this will be my race. So the stats on the card, we're going to go ahead and put them aside. The stats on the card are going to show you your health, your stamina, your magicka, your combat, and your cooldown. These will vary from race to race, character to character. But the main thing about your race is that they have a special ability. So this one is telling me that during battle, when I perform an engage action using one-handed, two-handed, or ranged weapons, I can add an enemy combat die to my roll, plus an additional one for each weapon in my inventory. So the more weapons I have, when I'm doing physical combat, I'll be able to add more dice to it and do more damage. It's called Reveler. And it's once per battle. So that's cool because you have 12 days in this and you could be doing battle in half of them. Great, I like it. 4 health. So this is where we're going to have to dig into the big box. So I've got my guy, and we're going to go ahead and pull this out that we don't need. This is all of the item cards and other things. This is a nice little handy-dandy card stacker, sort of like in Burn Cycle, where the cards stand up in it. They've got a little label in the bottom. It makes it quick access. It just sits on the table. All the cards are there for you to gain and do whatever you need with, and you don't have a whole bunch of them laying out. I'm going to get that out of the way. So with this, we have this little box of goodies here. So this little box has health chips, stamina chips, magicka chips. These will tell us basically what that stat number is over here on our guy. And then I'll show you how the dice work. So we'll pull this out, and what we have is we've got these little circular things that represent the different pieces or different parts. Here's the health chip here, and magickas. There should be one in there. It looks like magic. Okay, there they are. So what you do with this mat, you basically are only ever allowed to have 6 times 4, 24 of these slots filled. And what you're going to do is place each of your stats onto one of these lines, and one of them will move left to right, one of them will move right to left. So I want to take this health, which is 4, and you could there's a 5 on the other side. Each additional health is represented by these little red chips, and they'll fill in these holes, and so you would count what's on this plus those. This is how much damage you can take before you're knocked out. So I can put my health wherever I want. You know, I'm just going to put it over here on the right side. I have 4 health. But again, you can choose where you want to put them. I have stamina. So stamina is used to determine how many dice you can roll, which is very similar to too many bones, and also how many spaces you can move in a turn. So if you wanted to upgrade it, my stamina starts at 2. So when I place this out here, let's say I put it here, I'm going to put 2 of these little things in here to say I currently have 2 stamina. So at a glance, I can always look at it to see how many dice I'm allowed to roll, with exception of Magicka. And, as I go up in levels and gain experience, I can actually add to this by paying the cost of the line that it's going to go into, with white going left to right and black going right to left. But there's a lot of tutorials, and I seem to be wandering off here. Let's just build this character. That's what we want to do. So I've got some Magicka here. And I know I'm going to have to build this up if I'm going to move at all, but let's put my Magicka down here in the bottom. I like that. And I start with 2 Magicka, so it's pretty balanced. It's not, heavy on stamina or Magicka, which means I could probably multi-class with this guy, which is cool. And then I have this combat skill. I want to put it in the top. And for me, I have 3 combat. Well, that doesn't come out of this. Combat is basically a generic skill that everybody's going to get a copy of that. Here's one right here. You're going to get this combat chart. And this combat thing is going to tell you how you can use these dice. So if you're in one-handed, two-handed, or ranged, you can roll them and deal damage to your target. And if you're in defensive mode, you can roll them and put them up here as defense. And so when somebody attacks you, you would exhaust those dice to defend yourself. So they're pretty versatile. And it turns out that the Nord is going to start out with 3 of these. I'm going to open this thing up, and this is just based off my stats. So this does have a number on the left corner. It's very difficult to see, but when you get into the rest of the skills, they will have 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know if they go higher than 5, but that tells you what level the die is. So I get to put 1, 2, and 3 of these dice into my combat. All right, so I have a Nord, I have my health, I have my stamina, I have my Magicka, I have my combat dice, and I have what is called a cooldown. So with the cooldown, I'm going to have to open up a box here. And this again is showing you straight out of the box how long it's going to take to put this thing together. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. And if you recall, when I was on last, I showed you that we had the blacksmith pack. Has these little metal sword hilts. It comes with plastic ones, but I got this pack, and these will go into this guy here. So for experience, I'm starting at none, and just plug the little sword into that. For a battle stance, well, we're not in a stance right now, but I'll go ahead and put this in there. My cooldown is 2. So what this is how many dice you recover at the beginning of each turn. So if I were to roll these dice in combat, which with stamina, I can only roll 2 of them right now. I would roll them, I'd deal 2 damage plus 1, 3 total damage, and then they would go in my cooldown slot. Now, at the beginning of my turn, I would recover 2 of these. If all of these were in here at the beginning of my turn, I would gain the first 2 and then slide the rest to the left. So again, I'm veering off and teaching things that There are many, many teaching videos out there. Let's build this character. And I'm going to continue to hit those tangents, so just bear with me. And then here we have tenacity. So for anyone that has played Too Many Bones, oh man, I rolled and I got bones. They're misses. Man, that just makes me mad, but it builds your tenacity. So for every time you roll this little symbol here, you get to add a tenacity in here. So what does that tenacity do? I'll tell you in a minute. So right now we're going to go ahead and stick these in here. Those are readily available. I have no tenacity. And now I can go in here and choose the chip that represents my guy. If I can find him. I'm sure he's in here somewhere. There's so many different races to choose from. You just need to find your guy. It looks like Red Guard. Let's go a little further. This looks like elves of sort. This looks like elves of sort. And it's just his little face. So he has to be in here somewhere. Come on. There we go. There I am. If you look at him, his little beard, my little beard, that's me. So this guy will basically sit here. And since I have 4 health, let me put this up. I don't need it. I can reach into the box here. And we're going to pull out some premium health chip. So in Too Many Bones, Chip Theory Games, there are a few other games which I do not have. I have Burn Cycle. It uses chips and health. You take these chips equal to your health and you place them underneath your character chip. That's your health. So when you're doing combat and you're fighting and you lose health, you just pull the chip off of it. It's a great way to keep track of your hit points. And none of these guys in here really get a whole lot of health. You just get a lot of enemies that might have 4, 5, 6, 7 health. There are others that can build up on that and get bonus health and stuff, but again, that's playing. So there he is, set up. So I have a Nord who inherently has combat skill. On the back of that, it's the adventure turn reference. Tells you how to do a turn, how to engage, what the battle forms are. Really cool. There are 4 of these so that every player can have one. And this combat is showing it's stamina based, so it is based on the green things here. So let's don't need these. I might need this again. Let's go ahead and move that aside. All right, so my ranting, I chose a Nord. Nord inherently comes with combat, but at character creation, I get to choose another skill, another one of these things that gives you dice, because dice is how you engage and do things in the game, whether it's damage or whether it's movement or armor or defense. It's a big part of this game. So you're going to get to start with one skill. But don't worry, because later on through the game, you'll be able to spend experience points to train some of these empty slots, and then, with experience, buy dice to fill them in. So let's go looking through, and yes, once again, we have a gaggle of skills. And you can see that there are 2 of each kind. So same thing with the race. 2 players could play the same race. There's not an arm wrestling over it. Can't have 4 players play the same race because there's only 2. Well, same for this. Oh no, he took my illusion skill. I wanted it. Well, there's 2 of you here. But you have to know that the dice pool is limited. So if I take up the 2 level 1 Calm and Fury illusion dice, and you take illusion, there is not a level 1 dice available for you to get. So you have to pay attention to how many dice are available for each of these skill lines. Now with combat, there are 14 dice available. So there's more than enough for everybody to start with those. So I look through these and I see, legerdemain, light armor, one-handed shield, restoring light, and they all have different colors and they all have different battle forms that you have to be in order to use them. So, I am the wizard. Let's look and see. Acrobatics, no. Bow, I think somebody else might want that. Daedric summoning sounds cool, but it doesn't sound like a primary. There we go. There's a primary skill. A destruction staff. Look at me standing here with that staff. Let's choose destruction staff. I'm going to put it right over the top of my combat here. Look at that. It says you have to be in Magicka stance to do that. And Magicka I have 2 of, which means that I could roll where stamina says how many dice you can roll and how far you can move. Magicka is specific to Magicka style skills, tells how many dice you can roll, and it's your range. So my range is up to 2 spaces away. With a ranged melee weapon or a ranged bow, this would be your range, your movement, and how many dice you can roll. With Magicka, it's how many dice I can roll magic and my range. So I'm going to take Destruction Staff. So 2 things to do. We go back into this dude here, and we dig through all of these different skill lines, and we find the little picture and color matches right there. Destruction staff, destruction staff. So this is a skill. So a skill is something that I can slot into my character, and I don't want to put it up against something if I plan on really fleshing this thing out. So will my stamina pick up? Let's just create its own little row here, and I could go against this with something small and maybe against this, but let's go ahead and put that in there. Destruction staff, there it is. So at character creation, I'm going to go ahead and put this box up because I don't need it anymore. At character creation, you start the game with, unless you do this introductory scenario, you start the game with 2 dice in the first skill that you choose. But anything from this point on, when you go to town and train, you would get the little disc, but you wouldn't get any dice until you spend experience points. Now you can spend experience points at the end of any day. So if you go to an encounter and gain some experience at the end of the day, it's like, man, I'm going to add some dice to this skill. So it's basically, I can train you, but you're useless until you get some experience. And now that you have experience, you can put that into that skill. But to start, you start with 2 experience because you're going to get 2 dice automatically, level 1 dice, because you start out with level 1 dice. And if you were to upgrade and use experience to buy more, you would have to have a level 1 to get a level 2, a level 2 to get a 3, and a level 3 to get a 4, if your skill line goes that high. Now, Destruction Staff is unique in the fact that it has single level 1, but it has 4 of them. Level 2, it has 2 different types of dice. So this is another branching tree that can say, I want to go this way instead of that way. So there's a wall of elements. I'll take that path. Another player may say, well, I want to go Destructive Touch, and they can veer off on that path. There's so much variability. Then once you have a level 2, you could get level 3 dice, and there is 3 different types of level 3 dice, but there's only 1 of each one. So Pulsar, Elemental Drain, Elemental Rage, and then the level 4 dice is Ancient Knowledge. And this explains what they do and whether they're instant or whether you put them in your cooldown track. We'll go over that when we play the game. But so to start, I'm going to get some level 1 dice, And it's got a little 1 in the corner. And I get 1 and I get 2. And what your little skill sheet does is explain what they do. And it's got little pips next to it. And I know this isn't real close. There are little pips to it that tell you how many faces of the die have that symbol on it. So 3 of them will have this, this is force shock is the die. Deal 2 damage to your target. Nice. And then it'll go into my cooldown once I rolled it. The second one says deal 4 damage to your target and 1 true damage to any adventurer. So this thing is just so overpowered that it sent out a shockwave and basically hurt one of your party members. Okay, a 4-to-1 trade. Yeah, maybe I'll be able to heal you. And then the last one, gain 2 tenacity and deal 1 true damage to any one adventurer. Well, I told you earlier about that tenacity is considered misses, and you can spin that in a different way. So I have a Nord. I'm going to put these dice up. I don't need them. I'm going to put these up. I don't need them. And we are doing pretty good here. This right there. All right. So next, race. Skill, innate skills, choose a skill, gain the dice for it. That is my character. Oh, but wait. What about a class, folks? Now, if you play the jailbreak scenario, it basically says, depending on what you do in the scenario, these things are available to you. I would recommend that for people who have never played these type of games, don't know anything about them. I have watched enough videos on this where I feel like I'm ready to run with this right out of the gate. Also, because I'm in Magicka, you know, the Magicka stance would be nice for me to start in, but I do have some combat dice here, which I could use in any of the other 3 combat forms, or even in the defensive form. And the dice are generic, but what you roll, depending on where you are, determines what it's going to do. If I roll this as defense dice, oh great, look. I lock them up here, and I can block things with it. Great. Then I would have to change my form if I wanted to do something else. Once you take the damage, you move it down into the cooldown. If I was in two-handed or one-handed, I roll them, I would deal, oh look, I'd deal 1 damage and I'd gain a tenacity because of the miss. Then they go into cooldown. If I was in the ranged stance, I believe I can still use these. It says I can according to this. I could use these as generic arrows. And my range would be equal to my stamina. So I could roll these and look, oh, I did 1 point of damage up to 2 spaces away. I'll choose my target first. Oh, and I gain another tenacity. Well, now, here's where your tenacity comes in. These are classes. Now, these do not have 2 of each. They have 1 of each. So you could have 2 Nords in the party and 2 people using destruction scaffs. When it comes to your class, these are going to be unique, and they are of 3 different types. You can see there's the yellow gold color, the blue color, and the red color. These are from the constellations of Rogue, Magic, and Combat, basically. So that sort of gives you an idea what it is. But on the card itself, you'll see across here, this is the Warden. I think, there they go. Let's start with Acrobat. It has a little symbol here that looks just like this tenacity symbol. Right there. If you have tenacity to spend, you can spend them and activate these abilities. Those aren't an engagement. They're just, hey, I'm going to do this. Move a number of spaces, help heal other people. There are interrupts. There are some that are enduring that say if you have that much tenacity, this thing is active all the time. So this helps flesh out this character. So if you don't think there is like a bajillion combos of character creation, you saw how many classes or races. You saw how many skill lines. Now we get to go through and look at this. Acrobat, Arcanist. Arcanist. That might work. Archer, Bard, Burglar, Dragon Knight, Healer. Okay, I'm dealing damage and causing damage. Maybe I would use a healer skill. Knight, Necromancer. That's cool. Nightblade, Pilgrim, Ranger, Rogue. There's the Rogue straight out. Scout. It looks like you get to move a little bit further during your overland travel. Sorcerer. Ooh. Nice. But I know somebody else that might want to go into that. So now this is what I'm looking at. With the amount of combat dice I have, and I'm also in Magic, I'm going to choose Spell Sword. So there is a novice side to this, and then it tells you how to upgrade it. And when you upgrade it, it flips over to the other side, and some of these cost less or do better things when you become a master. And then there's usually an innate ability on there. Mine says once per turn I can drain a die, which is basically, instead of cooldown, you set it over here. It doesn't come back till after the end of combat. And when I do, I can trigger it as if I was performing it as an engage. Okay, so I could, oh, that's cool. So I could take this and say, I'm going to drain this to do the 4-point damage one. That's pretty cool. But then it's gone. What do I do? Oh, wait. Hero's Vigor. For X tenacity, recover 1 drained skill dice. The tenacity cost of this ability is equal to the level of the die. So it would cost me 1 tenacity to recover it. And recovering does not put it in cooldown and put it right back. Oh, that's awesome. So if I miss, I get a die back. That's cool. I think I'm going to be a spell sword. So, this, my friends, is a character. That's it, right there. So this is just one little piece of that puzzle. This is my starting character. This is cool. So, now to top this off, I know battle form is chosen at the beginning, and I know that tenacity starts at nothing. So I'm just going to set these little guys aside and look at this, folks. I'm going to gain more dice. I'm going to gain more skills. I'm going to do things. But this thing slides right over the top of it. And now this stuff is saved. Save game, toss it in the box. Do a session, toss it in the box, get together the next week, do your second session, do your 3-session campaign, end up great, pull everything off, create a different character, and go from there. But this is cool. Look at that. There's my character. Wait, there's more. Over here, we discussed this as our add-on items. And you know I play blue. So I will pull out this blue guy here. And this is our journal, our character journal. And take these other ones and get them out of the way. I know I'm crowded on this table. It's a smaller table. So what do I want to do? Who am I? Well, these I'm going to have to put somewhere. Look at this. I am a Nord. I've already done my skills, but wait, do I have a special? Yeah. Look at this. The picture of my guy slides on in here. There I am. It still shows my innate ability of my race, and it's got a picture of my guy in there, and it's in my little notebook. That's cool. Open it up. This is the same stuff, just a different picture. I know that I have the combat skill. So let's go ahead and put my combat skill into my book. Now these are brand new, so it's got to slide a little bit. There's my combat skill. If I ever need to look at my turn reference, I can. And here's my level 1 destruction staff, level 2, level 3, level 4. Let's go ahead and take this, slide it on in here. Again, brand new, so it's a little staticky and stiff. but it does not look like these things are going to come out of here anytime soon. Okay, and I have room for more. If I had items, legendary items or regular loot, I would be able to slot them in there. I don't. I just started. And now I can have my class on the back if I ever need to reference it. Now, I could put it this way where I read it from in the book, but I'm going to put the novice on the outside. And once I upgrade, I will go ahead and move it the other direction. By the way, for those who don't know, Chip Theory makes chips. They're heavy duty. But all of these cards and everything that I've been handling here today, that's PVC. You don't have to sleeve this stuff. It's made out of plastic. All of it. I mean, there's videos of people playing Too Many Bones in the bathtub. So, I'm not saying do that, but I'm telling you, look at this. There's my spell sword. Who are you? I'm the Nord Reveler. Oh, I'm doing some combat here. Oh, wait. I want to try some of these. This is a character. Right there, folks. So this is the Wizard of Wizardofmoe Games, and you will see the Nord Reveler in a live stream playthrough from Wizardofmoe Games. I'm going to have to name him. Why don't you guys throw some names up in the comments? While you're there, hit that like button if you like what you see. And then come game night, when we do our live stream, we will go through and see who had the best name for him. Now, I'm not going to go for whoever did the most. I'm going to go for what I like the best. You know what I look like. You know what my Nord looks like. You know his skill line. Give him a name that's going to work, that's worthy of this guy. So until then, we will see you next time. It's the Wizard, Wizardofmoe Games on the Wizard's Table. Keep on gaming. Later.